Welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I'll be guiding you on this journey today. This is a reading for the 2-4 human design profile, the Hermit Opportunist. If you don't know what your human design profile is, there's a link in the description below for you to get your human design body graph, and your profile will be listed on there. And also be sure to check out your zodiac sign readings. Those are all up. And what else? I would love it. If you haven't done so already, I would absolutely love it if you subscribed to my channel if you haven't done so already. Okay. Thank you regardless. You know, I'm glad that we're here. So let's see. This is a 3-card spread. I don't take the jumpers for this spread. But you know, I mean, we love a chatty deck. So 3-card spread. First card is your current energy or the energy that is surrounding you. The second card is the energy that's leaving or that's no longer serving you. And the third card is the energy that will be available to you, or that's next or that's coming up. So let's just get a couple good shuffles in here for our 2-4 profiles. All right. So, current energy is the 4 of Wands. What's leaving the 8 of Swords? Love that. What's coming in the 5 of Wands? Interesting. We have a progression from the 4 to the 5 of Wands. The Page of Wands. I can't even tell you how many times the Page of Wands has come out in these readings. And it's usually literally in this position, which is so interesting to me. We have the 9 of Swords. We go from the 8 to the 9 of Swords. And then the Queen of Swords. The High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. The Hanged Man. Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels like a kind of a spiritual journey, or like kind of a fated written in the stars type of thing here, which is also, you know, it's kind of interesting because yeah, okay. So I'm just going to go with the story that's like kind of unraveling here for me. Let me just make sure everything is okay. All right. It's interesting. Okay, so the 4 of Wands. Wands in general, not to mention we have 3 Wands and 3 Swords cards out here. So that's also interesting. It's rare that, you know, it happens that way, not to mention having 2 progressions in the same reading. And really what that tells me too is that you're moving through some energy here. So, you know, you probably maybe feel that in your life, like just changing, you know, the things that you're doing, or, you know, the way that you're thinking about them too. So again, wands have to do with the actions that we take and the motivation behind the actions that we take, right? It's creativity, passion, you know, our desires, right? Like, how are we communicating those things? What actions are we taking towards those things? And it's interesting. So we start with the 4 of Wands, right? Which usually talks about harmony, union. It's like, you know, it's having a firm foundation, feeling a sense of security. Like the actions that you've taken thus far have gotten you to a point of security, and even, you know, making connections with people who make you feel secure. There's generally other people involved with the 4 of Wands, which is very, you know, like 4th line coded, right? So it's interesting though, because the 4 of Wands is the only card out here, besides the 5 of Wands, of course, that has 2 people on it. And to me, it almost kind of has this feeling of like, you want to see what you're made of type of thing. Like, there is this independence aspect that goes along with this. Because it looks like in the 4 of Wands, it almost looks like they're setting off on a journey. right? Not that they just came upon this dude in the middle of the forest, but that, this guy is seeing her off, is how this feels to me. And part of the reason why it feels that way is because in the Page of Wands, it's just her and her dragon. So I don't know where her horse went. Um, I mean, it could be tied up somewhere, whatever, whatever. But but no, there's a dragon, which also, kind of speaks to change and growth, and also even using the resources around you is like how that's even coming through. Because again, right? I mean, like this Four of Wands, it feels like they are leaving their sense of security. This could even just be stepping out of your comfort zone. It could be having less of a focus on relationships and less of a focus on, seeing relationships as the thing that brings you stability. The Page of Wands is very playful, curious. I would even say like brave and courageous was like coming to mind too. But I mean, they're like chilling under this tree, playing a flute. It does feel like to me that they are like on some type of journey. And again, it does have this feeling of like self-discovery though. Like there's an air of like fun though too, and like being excited about it. This person feels supportive. So if there is somebody around you, I do feel like they are, or they would be supportive of you tackling something. Like if there is a creative endeavor, a creative project, a passion that you've had that kind of wanted to try out. Because with this being a page, right, this is somebody who is just trying different things. Like there's not necessarily a commitment there yet with the Page of Wands, because they just want to get their hands dirty and just, see how things go. Right? Like decorate a room some kind of way and then, be open to changing it if you hate it. Or trying a specific hobby, and also being open to trying other hobbies, right? Like it's like not necessarily putting all of your eggs like in one basket, but just being open to the journey and the things that come up, taking a break, getting even practicing, like if you have an interest in playing the flute, play the flute for a little while until the energy's been satisfied and you're like, I actually don't feel like playing the flute anymore. Now I want to get into watercolors, or I want to write, or like whatever it is. But yeah, again, just not necessarily committing. And really what it is though too, right, is that it is to help you like discover more of yourself, to work through any type of mental blocks that you have, any limiting beliefs that you have. I'm saying that because we have the Eight of Swords, we have the Nine of Swords over here. So again, even just in this position, right, like that, both of those cards are in the position of what's leaving, and it is a direct progression from, an 8 to a 9. The Eight of Swords have to do with our mind, right? It's our mindset, our belief systems, truth, honesty. I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, to feelings, to circumstances. And it does become our belief system. It becomes our temperament. It becomes our personality. It becomes the reasons why we don't do and do other things. So, right, like the Eight of Swords is like that self-inflicted mind prison. It is those limiting beliefs. It's self-sabotage. Brene Brown calls them gremlins. Like when those stories just bombard our headspace, especially if we are trying to grow past a way that we have been, or if we are, kind of going on this journey of self, right? Then all of a sudden, like all these speed bumps start popping up and we're like, it can be overwhelming. And also too, right? Like those things have in the past made us turn around and go back. They have prevented us from moving beyond a certain story. Even, the Nine of Swords is, nines are individual completion. So there is some level of completion there. But also even just look at the difference between, the crows were wrapping her up in the Eight of Swords. And that's the whole point, is that you're literally one decision away from changing your circumstance, from changing your situation, from literally just changing your mind, right? Like that whole change your mind, change your life thing. Because their hands aren't bound. They could, if they wanted to, get out of that. However, I will say, the thing that I love about the Eight of Swords, though, is that there is so much information to be found there. That is where you are going to find, work on, heal those limiting beliefs. You want to be in this energy that so that you can hear the narrative, like what is going on in your head, right? And where did those stories come from? Like, where did that belief come from? And is it true? 9 times out of 10, it is not true. Speaking for myself, of course, going through this myself multiple times, I've gotten really good at just kind of stopping and being like, okay, where is the root of this story? It's somewhere in the past, right? And is that story true of me now? Is that a truth that I wanted to continue to believe of myself, or believe of what is possible, or believe in, where I'm going or what I want to do? Or can I change my mind? Can I come up with a new narrative and just see how it goes? And that almost kind of feels like the Nine of Swords, because now all those crows are chill. She's sleeping. There's this one crow that's, kind of, they have this sword at the ready for her. It's almost like taking one thing at a time. Instead of trying to put as many irons in a fire as you possibly can, it's putting one iron in the proverbial fire, focusing on one thing, changing your mind around one belief or one behavior pattern or one habit that you have. Right? So again, that's done though, right? Like you've been working on that. You're in a good place with that, or you will be in a good place with that. If this hasn't really kind of gotten off the ground yet, just know that this is coming up, and really be aware of, again, right, the thoughts that are going through your mind, the stories that are coming up, the lies that are coming to you in your own head, because that they are lies for the most part, right? Like anxiety is lying to you type of thing. Maybe even developing a breathing practice, a journaling practice, just something that, like you can just mind dump all of the shit that the Eight of Swords is, if things start getting overwhelming, so that you can just, again, like just take things one at a time. And what's interesting over here, we have the Five of Wands and the Queen of Swords. The Five of Wands is a a card of conflict. However, we see these three guys fighting there. The two lions are fighting. The two lions are actually fighting. These people aren't quite fighting yet. But with the Five of Wands, I always reference Mulan because I think it's a perfect example of the Five of Wands energy, because it is like, it's training and conditioning, right? It's like putting in the effort for like muscle memory. It is, even just learning something new, right? Because if you are getting out of your comfort zone, you're going to be feeling like you are fighting for your life in some capacity, right? Because it's uncomfortable. So, Mulan, right? Everybody gets to warrior training, and everybody is, full of ego, right? Like nobody's really working together. There's people who think that they're better than other people, or who know better or whatever, right? Like nobody is really working together. I don't know. I was trying to come up with a different way to say that, but right. But it was like through exposure to each other, it was learning to trust each other. Also, even learning what the hell you are even doing, right? Like, and just like repetitive motion type of thing too. So they build relationships, they build rapport, they build trust in each other. They all, like learn how to do the thing that they're being trained to do. So that's like the Five of Wands energy. You are literally like retraining yourself to be like who it is that you do actually want to be, like the vision of yourself. And it doesn't have to be obviously like, very, it can be very physical, but it's more so just the energy, like putting in the perseverance, having determination, being committed to getting better, right? Because then we move on to the Six of Wands, which I know we don't have out here, but we move on to the Six of Wands, and that's victory and recognition, right? So the Queen of Swords, queens are very personal to me. It's interesting. We have the Nine of Swords that's clarifying the Eight of Swords, and that's individual completion. And then the Queen of Swords is very individual to me too, very personal. Like we recognize the energy within the suit ourselves. We learn to work with it. We learn to master it. And the Queen of Swords would be like a clarity of mind, like almost like disciplined in thought. And that would come from being aware of the shit that is going on in your head, good, bad, otherwise, right? And recognizing where you need to tweak things, recognizing where you still need a bit more clarity. I also, the Queen of Swords is also usually like depicted as being kind of cold-hearted, but they are going to rely strictly on truth and like what can be proven. They're holding the Ace of Swords there, which is the sword of truth. There's all these butterflies around, which is transformation, change, metamorphosis. It really is like coming into your power. And also, if there is some sort of conflict that ends up happening in some capacity, this is also a message for you to stand your ground, to stand in your truth, to stand into like what is fair and just for everybody, not just, like one person, but yeah. And like I said, we have the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck, which honestly actually looks just like, look at the similarities. Their dress looks the same. Wings, butterflies. The High Priestess is being in tune with your star player, your higher self, your soul, your intuition. I mean, literally nobody can steer you wrong when you are that tapped in. And you will be that tapped in. And it will maybe just take like either having uncomfortable conversations with people, doing things again that is outside of your comfort zone. It is going to take you going on that journey. You do have support at least. However, this is very much like you against you type of thing. You can do it too. Clearly. Clearly. I'm leaving it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.